Journalist Tara Congarlo joins us from London for more on this. Tara, thanks for joining us. How is the international community likely to respond from this announcement, over this announcement from Iran? Do you think we'll see more sanctions?
Thank you for having me. I think the international community right now is sort of divided between the United States and the European countries that are signatory to the JCPOA and also China and Russia. President Macron of France had a conversation with Iran's President Rouhani. Talks will resume in days to come to discuss ways that all parties can potentially stay in JCPOA in the nuclear deal. Now, I want to mention the INSTEX, the instrument to essentially the method that the Europeans put in place to exchange trade. That's their argument to say that we are in support of the Iran deal, we are in support of JCPOA, but for Iranians that's not enough because that system that is in place is only in support of trade and humanitarian aid to Iran. And what Iran is asking is to relieve sanctions on oil and trade. That's their lifeline, and that's what they want the sanctions to be removed. Iran's economy is in incredibly dire crisis. I mean, everyday people are suffering. Price hikes are humongous, and it's quite terrible for everyday Iranians who are really being hit by what their government is calling financial terrorism by the United States. So I guess back to your question, it really comes down to how the Europeans, as well as China and Russia, can work with Iran in relieving sanctions over oil and trade.
Tara, what can we expect to see next from Iran? I mean, they've already announced that they plan to start enriching uranium beyond that 3.67% limit in the JCPOA. I mean, how far can they take this? What are the steps that further down the road?
I think if we look back at about a month and a half ago when the escalations between U.S. and Iran really started, we see tit for tats, moments where the United States hits, especially President Trump tweets something, and then Iran reciprocates. So this is part of the theatrics. Iran said every 60 days we would increase, but I want to put things in context. Iran is very far from an enrichment level that would lead to a potential nuclear weapon. So I think the worry for that is quite far. But what's quite concerning is how this tit for tat would escalate. I think right now President Trump is really keen on somehow coming out successful from these tug of war that we're seeing, because we're leading to the 2020 election, and he quite frankly doesn't have any victory when it comes to his foreign policy. You look at China, you look at North Korea, so I would assume that he's keen on coming up with some sort of a deal and really preventing a war. So Iran might be his opportunity to achieve that. But again, Iran argues that we cannot trust the United States, and every 60 days we will take measures that are needed.
All right, Tara Congarlo joining us from London. Thank you.